is a session which I would like to be very interactive, so please ask questions and feel comfortable to ask me. This is about the boxed solution. You should receive one box soon from our colleagues. And this is one of the outputs of the project. The idea is that if you are one of the decision makers in Canop Chase or in your area, you should keep this on your desk. And from time to time, have a look and say, there is a problem on people with reduced mobility. And you can see here very easily what is it about. But let's go with order. The idea is that company managers rarely are mobility managers. That's a little part of their job. And so we need something which is simple, which is pleasant, and which is inspiring in order to support them to implement a mobility plan, okay? The traditional tools that are around are a little too complex and for the experts. The idea of this tool is to be a simple reference, inspiration for people who are not doing this job every day. This was the original idea, to have sort of boxes where you could take the things that you needed without studying or preparing too much. Just open the box and check what's useful for you, adapt it, and implement it. So ready to implement measures. And this is the real thing. As you can see, there is one box with 10 little books. And of course, these books are also available on the web as in form of ebooks, as PDFs. And you can see that inside every book there is, well, the first one is an introduction about mobility management, and it contains references. But then in the other ones, you have a set of indicators and measures. You can browse them there if you want, where you get, for example, a car sharing service. How do you implement it? Which are the indicators of good results? Which are the possible barriers? And if possible, there is a good practice of what worked elsewhere in the world. Really, the idea is that this is a very simple tool, and to be used when you need it. The contents. We said we have 10 books. The first one is an introduction. So if you are new to the world of mobility management, you find there the basic guidelines to start working in this field. Then number 1 is about cycling. Number 2, walking. 3 is about public transport. 4 is carpooling. 5, car sharing. And by carpooling and sharing, we mean more people use the same car, while here more people share the property of a car. So they lend the car to each other. Car management and car sharing, transportation with people with reduced mobility, other mobility measures, everything which doesn't fit in the 7 before, and then marketing and promotion. It's interesting also to think that the mobility, the boxed solutions have a strong link, the meaning of the arrow, with the mobility labels, which my colleague Ina will present in a few minutes. What do we mean with that? I just announced what the mobility label is. The mobility label is the same thing that you have in your fridge, but about your business area. So how accessible is this? And the things that you find in the box solution, for example, carpooling, you find a set of chapters like 4.1, 4.2, where the measure is explained in detail and there are indicators. So if you want to get a green bike or a green carpooling, you should implement all of these things. If you implement just one, you are on the reddish side. If you implement most of them, you are on the greenish side. So more seriously, if you want to improve the conditions of the accessibility condition of your business area, this can be a guide that is directly linked to the label. So if you implement what is written here, your label immediately gets better in a sense. Okay, so that's the way it works. Then there is another nice gadget that my colleague showed me before. If you put all the boxed solution on a table, you can also play a little of a jigsaw puzzle and find the shape of a boxed solution altogether. So the idea of this tool is to improve the accessibility of your area and to give you links and opportunities to find more resources on the net. I invite you to ask for questions, doubts, thoughts. If not, I leave the floor to my colleague Ina. Yes, please.
The scale that you've got on
Yep.
the right-hand side, is that an official scale or something you just made up for the project?
Yeah, and that's what my colleague is going to explain in a minute.
Okay.
Hello again. I'm here to explain you the mobility labeling tool that is really tightly connected to the mobility box solutions, to the small booklets, because in first place, when you thought about the mobility label, I suppose you thought about the labels on your fridges and so on. Massimo already explained you that the label is just the same. We've used the same template because we like people to associate the mobility labeling for TVs, fridges and so on to the mobility labeling that we would have for business and industrial zones. Well, the difference is that on your fridge you have an energy label, and on your business and industrial zone you have a mobility label. What actually the tool is, it is an online, in most cases, diagnostic self-assessment tool with indicators that measure quality and quantity of the transport and mobility options in a business and industrial area. It could be used for a set of companies, for corporations, or for individual small companies. The tool itself has 52 indicators that are divided in 9 categories. We call them boxes, and each category or each box is represented through a small booklet that you will find in your box. Each of the boxes can score different points because each indicator has a certain score. So when you're using the tool, you'll see that each box has a mobility class. Well, the boxes have a 7-base mobility class from G to A, and they become greener when they get to A. But for the entire biz, you have 10 classes. You have from G to A with 3 pluses. We've arranged the tool so that the hard effort is to get to A. Afterwards, from A plus to A with 3 pluses, it is obvious that you implemented measures that correspond to innovation, creativity, something that nobody has ever done. The best thing about the tool, it is that it is paired with a booklet. So if you do a certain indicator and you see that it scores really low and you like it to score better, then you go to the box with the solutions and the booklets, you read some possible solutions and implement it. So you have your score improved. The mobility tool works online when you visit our website and you check the boxes of the mobility tool web page. And the other way to work with it is by downloading the Excel file and just checking into the Excel file. When you have completed, the mobility class will appear in both cases online or in the Excel tool. And what you will notice that when completing it for the first time, you will get a general image of your biz. And the results are baseline results. Afterwards, if you fill it in a third, a fourth time, you will see that your progress will be reflected in the scores, so you can use it for monitoring progress. The box essentials, I would like to mention that each box has its own image. It has its own symbol. For example, cycling, it has a bike. walking, it has a pedestrian, bus for the public transport, carpooling and car sharing have uh, cars with quite a lot of people, car management has a few cars, the box for people with reduced mobility have a person in a wheelchair, and the last box that is evaluated in the tool is the information box. It has eyes for information. The last box, further mobility measures, is not represented in the tool, but well, you can still check very interesting solutions from that box as well. Each box is represented in the tool through its core in the background. If you have a green background, it means it is an A box, and if you have orange or red background, then it is G or F, not sure. Well, you can perform better through implementing different measures from the small booklets. And last but not least, the tool and the mobility label itself, they could represent the contribution of a single company that is participating in the biz. So the mobility label could be used for example, raising awareness on the greenness of a certain biz. What else? Massimo showed you the looks of the mobility label. On the upper side it has the name of your biz, it has its location, it has also the scale from G to A with 3 pluses. In the downside it has all the boxes, the symbols, and the mobility class from G to A. The very downside of the label has information about your biz, logos, statistics, a motto maybe. But the message of the entire label is simple: green is good, and the greener your label looks, then it is better. In our case, we use the mobility tool. Well, not because it is simple and it is for free, but because it's realistic and reliable. Its indicators do not change for different companies or something. It is easy to use because you just check boxes. Of course, it can be used for baseline or for monitoring progress. It works well for small companies, for big companies. Differentiates the contribution of each company that participates in the biz, and provides information on various types of transport, from bicycles to big public transport buses. Well, and of course paired with the booklets from the box solutions, it provides inspiration for greener image. How could you use the tool is next chapter. I'm going maybe to say a few words again on the shining examples from the MomaBIZ project. In the first place, the tool uses objective data, statistics, numbers, and so on. So we used it to compare subjective data, for example, level of satisfaction, with objective data we had. In the Bulgarian case, for example, we had a very green box for the public transport service, which included the collective biz transport service, but we had really low levels of employee satisfaction with that service. So we thought that this big gap between objective satisfaction and subjective employee satisfaction was not acceptable, and we tried to think of solutions, and such solutions were pointed in the booklets. So we thought of the solutions related to the 10 brink criteria, to improvement of the service, for giving more incentives to the employees who would use public transport. The same happened to the parking management, because people are in love with their cars, we know, and would not like change, but well, the conditions, the objective conditions, told us something quite else. So you could see that before the implementation of the measures, the tool was B class and showed us that we need to do something, and now after all we've done, we have an A class, and I guess we are going for the A with the pluses classes. So Um, the tool has been tested in Tartu, in Spain, in Ponferrada, and Tarfe. It has been tested in Italy, in the United Kingdom as well. It worked for MomaBIZ in Bulgaria, and I see no reason why it won't work for you, so I would invite you to try it. It's really simple and user-friendly. So if you have any questions, that was from me and the mobility labeling. Yeah.
Your website, which I've just looked at, says it's in beta form at the moment.
Hmm?
Your website says it's in your website says it's in beta form at the moment.
Yeah.
Is that because are you open to improvements?
Yeah, we are open to improvements, and we are finalizing the tool actually. And I guess that on the website we had a Excel tool that is just the same tool but in Excel sheet, so that it is easy for you to make graphics, to see the different results, to play with it a bit and so on.
Okay. You say it's appropriate for all businesses.
Yeah,
Um,
it is.
there are 4.8 million businesses in the UK,
Yeah.
and 4.5 million of them are less than 4 people. And is it appropriate for all? I just had a quick look at the cycling portion of your website, and at least 5 of the 9 questions there probably don't apply if you've got a small business and you're in a shared office facility. But that would seem to indicate that you'll get a lower rank for things that are outside of your control. Is that
Sometimes
wise?
it works like that, yeah, but in other boxes you have questions that compensate for that lack of control over some circumstances. So if you score low in certain box and high in another one, because it somehow compensates that lack of control, then you get again a well-balanced score.
Okay, I believe you.
We had a discussion among the consortium about this issue, and my point of view at the end of the day is that the label is not showing how good you are, but how accessible your office is. So if you are 4 people in the office, which is in the middle of nowhere, there are no bike lanes and nothing, you will get a red bike, even if you are the best biker in the world. So it's not how effective was I, but is my office located in a smart place or not?
But it's very difficult to
Change.
take actions if you're not
I
in
agree.
control.
I agree.
Any more questions? Thank you, Ina. I think we'll actually open the floor up to a broader discussion on anything that you've actually heard this afternoon, or anything that you'd actually like to continue to develop from this morning. So is there any particular questions anybody would like to ask, or any comments that anybody would like to make, or any thoughts that anybody would like to share?
Can I just ask where in the UK it's being tested, the box solution? What solutions?
It was tested by the chamber and tested on one of the businesses up in Cannock.
Okay.
It was part of the pilot is developing the tool, and it was a lot of work went into it. I think it needs to be very modest. There's a lot of work went into it in terms of how you score it. It's not very easy. It's actually, each score is actually weighted based on its importance, and there was a lot of work actually went into how that was actually done. So you don't just score 10 points, 3 points. It's actually weighted quite. I didn't understand it. If you want it, actually, I don't think any of us understood it, if we're truthful. But it's actually there's a lot of science behind how the scoring works, and I'm sure we could have another lesson, but I don't think we get time. But it was. I was quite impressed. But it was in Cannock, and it was at the chamber here. And if you get the opportunity to do it, and it's good to have a look at the questions. Actually complete it. It doesn't take you that long, and it gives you a picture. You know, it says this is where you are right now. You can argue with that picture, but at least you've got somewhere to progress from. And if you link it to your box solutions, you've got ideas of how to progress. And I think you use both tools together. You know, but I think the point is be more. If there's something you think, oh, that doesn't make sense, certainly send us the information and we'll think about it. Okay. Other questions? Anyone?
I just want to add a short comment about the same issue of that labeling tool. As you know, we have to understand that it's a tool, and if you start to using that, the first rounds could be a bit confusing, and you know, maybe you're not happy with the first outcome. But you know, as every tool in the world, you start to you know, get used to it and learn to use it in a better way, and at the you know, very end you may discover that it will work for your application. But behind that tool there is a wider understanding, or you know, logical imperative that and this tool is mostly meant to be used by the you know, businesses themselves to evaluate their sort of accessibility. And this is much wider sort of topic of discussion. How much are those companies motivated actually to evaluate their accessibility, and how much is, you know, or you know, the very broad question is that the interest today for business people to deal with mobility management, to start to evaluate their position and to try to improve that. And you know, for me, after this project, it's a bigger question actually than it was before. And I think that one of the lessons learned from this project is that it is something that the understanding in business community is extremely low. I mean, it's just so far away from the everyday activities of industrial sector or business sector, that it actually requires maybe a bit stronger push to acknowledge that for them. And this is our experience in Tartu, because we are sharing very much you know, your pain here, because our business people actually had no interest whatsoever towards this project and these activities. And that was one of the you know, really lessons learned here. The other one was that we discovered that there are people who are interested of this topic, and we developed very good sort of cooperation with those active people that you know, still last today and hopefully last also in the future.
Do we have any other questions from anyone? This is your last chance. Well, I think if there's no more questions, I think it's really, I think for us to actually bring this part of the presentations and the conference to a close. It's been an interesting 2.5 years in terms of the project, in terms of actually trying to raise and promote the idea of mobility, to actually change attitudes. And that's both a regional area, a local authority area, and also a business area. It's something that actually will take, I think, many years to do, and it's something you shouldn't stop because it's hard. You should actually be doing it because it actually makes good business sense, and it probably makes good employee relation sense if you can actually make it easier for people to get to work. If you make it cheaper for people to get to work, then it's got to be a good thing. I'd like to thank all the partners for coming. They've all travelled from various parts of Europe in the last 2 days, and we're going to be working together for tomorrow and Wednesday to say, okay, what we learned from this and how do we actually take it forward. I think a big message for me was that you're already seeing new initiatives emerge, and that's certainly happening here in Birmingham. We've got some colleagues from Central who are saying, look, here's what we're doing. We want to continue this sort of work specifically with businesses on a one-to-one basis. And to me, there's clear links. If you can use the mobility labelling tool, which says, here's where we are as a business, now what we're going to do about it. And if Central's coming in and saying, well, we've actually got the resources, the know-how and the money, then you can see how you're creating those sorts of partnerships in the future. I'd like to thank everybody else who came. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found something to take away from it, something that was stimulating or challenging. So there's he loves his box, doesn't he? Alright, sorry. There we go. But I think hopefully you found something to take away from it. The website's there, and I would actually ask you all to have a go at the mobility tool and write back and tell us what you think about it. Because it is actually usable in a whole range of levels, given that, you know, and you've got to say, the reality of a two-person business probably filling it in probably isn't that great, because they're either going to do these things or they're not, you know, to do it in a way. Now, you've caught me on the hop, because supper's not ready for at least 15 minutes. So, I mean, I think we'll stop now. There's still some more tea and coffee there. I'll nip up to the kitchens, shuffle them along. I'd like to thank you for coming. I hope that you have a safe journey home, but please do stay, have some supper, and do some more networking. So, thank you. Bye-bye.